Hey folks, rinimt here, and welcome back to Tiny Bunny. Thank you to Serenity Forge for the code. Well, we have left the house, go search for this boy who's missing after we had some nightmares, and our sister had some nightmares, and their mom doesn't believe us, and their dad doesn't believe us, and we're just silly kids. So anyway, let's go. I opened the gate and went into the field. Carefully so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and an audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent, I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip that ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone listening to them. But then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together, almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home, and something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes who sometimes visited us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the black ground and everything? And somewhere far away a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and coniferous needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow. When I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? Their senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? Vova! I heard a distant shout. Looked like it came from the river. Vova! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova! It sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground. Its blackness. There was no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. Let's take it. Decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Vova! A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped towards the bristly trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. Pulled harder, the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. Squeezed it without thinking, and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Really study them. I got it set up so my controller can hide the UI now. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. Heard an animal roar behind me. So loud my ears went numb. Felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoop. Elise. Words were coming from all directions now. From the dried-up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. Felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. Pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? Screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. Gathered all my strength and rushed forward. Pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole and my soles were on hard surface once again. I reached a clear path with one jump and from there ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks. As if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I didn't notice these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled on the doorknob and it obediently gave away. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it into place. Gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. I smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly? Didn't you understand when I told you never to slam the door? I didn't mean to. Snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone. The breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it the last bit of strength I had left in my left in my body too. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all of those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought... So as soon as I started explaining myself, tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a bee, searching for the smell of tobacco. And she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Expression changed in an instant. She covered her mouth with her hand. Look, over there, at the fence! My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door, just like my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I barely discerned some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs. It's a small pack of strays with no name and owner, barely reminding of the hungry monsters that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. You were chasing me like a bunny. What if they're rabid? The smile slowly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom? Wish your dad could just shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive! Huh? What? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner just to keep myself from crying. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belongs to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. It seems like I was clutching it the whole time. It's my trump card as a detective. Hurry to present this clue to my mom. Mom, look, this is Vova's mitten. That boy the police were asking about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look! Ew! A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto Mom's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away. Stop it at this moment! Ollie will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this. The moment I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy who cried wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Come take your pills. A golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell onto my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me! Told you to stay home and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters. And Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? It's just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Olya was done rewatching your favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the differences puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Yako's voices died down. I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. Open? One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten there. The simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed. And then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to the medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the room bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. Remind me of burial sheets. Olya? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried up lips. Yeah, Olya, it's so funny. Silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. Reached toward the curtains. Ba-dum, beat my heart, controlled by medication. Wincing in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blindingly bright halo lit up above Olya's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. Always retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a light-woven child. I saw everything! Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to her commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Olya ran up to the table, her eyes round, and asked, You stole something and hid it there? Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. Clear image came to mind, that mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind the black trees. Olya could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. Then show me! Swear that you won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Olya wore a plodding smile. I swear on Mom's heart. I know she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we've watched. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. We opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like there was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it and got lost himself. Now do you understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. Police are going house to house, showing his photo to everyone. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to the houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. Police aren't scared of anything. They've already scouted the forest. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness cold and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how did they miss the mitten? Or did it appear later, from me? I changed the topic. So trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if I go and find this boy by myself. A lot of stuff, like in the Wheel of Fortune. Sounds cool, right? Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense! An owl won't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... how should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like a fairy tale? No, more like in that spooky tape our parents hide from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you? No, it's just I was hurrying back home so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in a tower. Can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I would wish for on my next birthday? I wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children so we could go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and if you'd make them as small as bugs, we could place them into a little box. Olya giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tosha, let's go watch Aladdin. The take went over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. Too tired. I don't want to. Come on! So boring alone, and Mom is always busy. Can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them! You haven't watched Peter Pan! Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? So much happens after that. Let's go! Let's go! Maybe a bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. Hey, no, let's play hide and seek. No, Olya. And draw me a dino. Olya, please. Draw it! Draw it! Leave me alone already! Blurted out without thinking, and then I was immediately taken aback. I'd never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya stared at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olya from crying. Alright, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. Came up to her, put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boom! You'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops! Well, close enough. Olya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for the condensed milk and bread and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh, just like how you like it. Okay, alright, just be careful not to spill the milk. Or you'll be yelled at again. Wanna bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere in the nightstand. Look for it. Olya disappeared into the doorway and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. Right, let's turn on. The old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. Although Slith was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and the blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy resembling human speech was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently, I used to watch... I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna? What if I catch this channel again? On the other hand, Olya asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I don't have the strength to do all of it. Search. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. The tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head, me and Olya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. Most of the clouds underneath us part, burying the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us and Olya. You haven't started without me, have you? Oh, right. My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No, come sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through rough times. Rough times are lame. On the screen, Wendy was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Olya was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too? Yeah, right. Oh, my own dog in the Neverland, and a cat, and a parrot. Olya smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all of your baby teeth? Obviously. Olya frowned deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go to his land with adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. And why would Dad forge documents? Olya took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. You will like her mom did that before. You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Olya got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinker Bell, and James Hook. As if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagine myself there. A land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. I felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. Touch us! Shut the curtains fast! Why? No one's watching you? It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I am scared. Got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtains. I did best not to look outside toward the treetops, toward the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from shadows of branches scraping the snow. Tosha, Mom thinks I made the owl up. And Dad too! Thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. But the owl exists! Honestly it does. You do believe me, right? It comes every night, and... I swiftly grabbed Olya's hand and looked her in the eyes, trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Aww. Yes, I believe you, alright. Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed, like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad say. It'll get tired of waiting and fly away. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing had happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olya's eyelids had dropped. She started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olya's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field, when Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should sleep properly. You won't be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just a part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. Forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on and on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into a slumber. It has come after all. The day I feared the most, the first day of a new school term. Episode 2, time to play with you. Alright, I have to actually click it. But I think before we start episode 2, we call it good there. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider tossing a like, comment, subscribe, maybe click the bell for notifications. Also be sure to check out the description below, various links, social media, Discord, come hang out, get notifications there as well. And until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye!